Not Nerd Podcast, episode 316, Bulking Up for the Winter.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we're here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, happy holidays and merry winter to you, my friend.
Yes, indeed. We are just coming off the Christmas holiday and awoke to a white Boxing Day today in the Portland metro area. We get a little snow with maybe more on the way, so... the holidays, we are in the midst of the holidays.
And that reminds me of Elliot, who loves our local weather forecasts,
yes.
being on the other side of the planet and in a completely different hemisphere.
Yes.
So Merry Christmas to you in the land down under.
Yes,
my friend.
they're warm climate Christmas down there. Well, yes, we made it past Christmas, and I thought we'd talk a little bit about, Dave, did you get any technology stuff in your stocking under the tree?
Really, the only technology I got was the technology that I purchased myself.
Yes.
Yes, and much like your pick of the week last week, I purchased you the pick of the week that I'm going to be talking about because I also purchased it. I bought 2 copies of it, and
yes, you did.
I gave you one for Christmas, and we can talk about that later. But I'll be talking about my pick, which is the same thing. But speaking of Wyze, I want to throw this out there. I have purchased other Wyze products. They just keep coming in droves. Every time they make something, I get something new, and I'm going to save that for another pick of the week. But I did buy it for myself, but I opened it on Christmas. But regarding other technology, I really didn't buy anything for myself, or did I get anything from my family tech-wise. But my daughter, we're experimenting with this. She has a Mini Cooper, and I don't know if you know this about the Minis. They're kind of small. And she's got an older one. It's a 2011, I think, or something. And it doesn't have the reverse backup camera. So I got her a license plate that has a camera in it. And then it wirelessly talks to a little screen, which is kind of a wide screen. It looks like a small rear view mirror, which is interesting. And you just wave your hand over the screen, and you can see what's in the camera and back. And the camera has a place to charge, but it's also got 2 little solar panels that are supposed to keep it trickle charged for a longer amount of time. So hopefully we don't have to charge the dumb thing every 5 minutes. But that was kind of cool.
I've been intrigued about those because my vehicle is older as well, and every once in a while I get the opportunity to be in a vehicle with the backup camera. And I remember when I opted for a traffic safety class after receiving a citation from a nice, friendly local police officer a few years back, and they were talking about how helpful those reverse cameras are. And I know that I think just about every new car has them built in, but having an option for the older car to upgrade to that could be very helpful. Very nice. Yeah, I'll be excited to hear more about the actual experience with that. And what price range was that little kit?
We got this from Costco, and I did look on Amazon. It's the Type S, I believe, is the brand, and I think it's a 1080p, maybe a 720p camera. It was in the $120, $125 range. And I think this particular model goes for a little bit more on Amazon than it was at Costco. But we're talking about a $10, $15 difference.
Yeah.
But yes, around $125 is the price range for this one. And of course, you can spend more. You can get wired ones. You can get front and back that go to the same screen. You can get the ones that are... You might enjoy this one, actually. They make the wireless ones that go to an app on your phone, and they're a little bit less expensive. They're maybe $50 to $75.
Okay.
And you open the app, and it gives you a link to the camera and back. But there's probably something like, you got to connect it to the Wi-Fi on the camera. And I mean, I did not want to mess with any of that stuff.
No, I did not bring it up on the podcast, but I, for a long time, have been intrigued by dash cams. Having a camera on the dash of your car, and I mean,
I've got one of those.
Million different models of them out there, and I think it was Black Friday. I ordered one from Amazon. Well, I went to set it up, and it was, it was a lower end one, and it just not a a good it didn't even make it to my car. It's sitting next to my desk.
Wow.
I'm going to return it to Amazon because it just, like, it won't record unless it's got power. I mean, it all kind of makes sense, but it's not this perfect device that I was hoping it would be, where it would kind of, catch somebody that's breaking into your car and record all the time while you're driving to make sure you catch something. So the one I got, I'm going to be returning it, is the Rove R2 4K. And it's loud and it beeps and makes all these noises. I'm like, nope, don't need that dash cam. But I am intrigued on the dash cams and the reverse cameras for the cars. So
what I should do is send you a link to the one that I bought.
Yeah.
For my backup camera, and it's actually pretty good. And I think it was around $65-$70. Anyway, I'll find out the make and model of it and send it to you. If your car does not have continuous power, you will need to wire it in to do that. But I just have mine in my cigarette lighter. It'll turn on, and it automatically records when I turn the car on, and it keeps recording until I turn the car off. It's got a built-in battery. It does have a thing where if it feels a shake, it's got an accelerometer in it. It will turn on the camera on battery. I have found that the battery inside doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, after probably 2 hours or so of kind of monitoring, it just dies. And so if someone breaks into your car into the parking lot while you're shopping, it would probably catch that. But if it's sitting in your driveway overnight, it probably would not.
Well, that would never happen to me again. Right? Well, I did get some technology, and I was thinking about it kind of before Christmas, and I was like, man, I bought myself so many new devices this fall. What other technology could I need? But then Christmas morning is upon us, and I did get some cool tech. One of the things I got, and I'll probably be talking about some of these later, so I'll just mention them. We've talked several times about pop sockets. Well, I never wanted a permanent pop socket on the back of my phone, or one that you had to re-adhesivize. Re-adhesivize, is that a word?
That's totally a word. Yeah,
Yes.
Just go with it.
But I had added to my Amazon wish list a MagSafe pop socket. So it's got a little metal thing on it, so it'll just slap on the back. So I've started using that, and I might make that a future pick of the week. I got a Stream Deck, which we've talked about before, the little device, and I was bragging before we started the show, so I'm just plugged it in today. So hopefully I'll test that out and let you guys know what I think. And then I haven't opened it, but it's a rapid cold brew coffee brewer with some cyclone technology in it. So I've got to try that out. So yeah, I might have just given a teaser on about my next month's worth of picks of the week. So even for the guy that has all of the technology, those in my life were still able to find more technology for me. So
well, I just haven't really got on board with the whole ice brewed coffee.
Cold brew, very different than iced coffee. Cold brew, it is. Oh man.
So, for the layman out there, what is the difference in just the elevator pitch here between iced and cold brew?
Basically, we'll say hot brewed coffee versus cold brew. Okay. I find cold brew much smoother. It's not as bitter. It doesn't have a lot of that edge to it.
Acidity?
Yes, the acidity. It's a much smoother taste. Now, I prefer to drink everything I drink cold. So therefore, making cold brew coffee and drinking it cold is great for me. But you can take cold brewed coffee and drink it warm, and it will be smoother. So it's it is a preference of mine, and I know it's not everybody's preference.
This is witchcraft, is what it is.
Yes.
This is tuning. This is what are those? Not tuning forks, Witcher forks to go.
Oh yeah, the water under. Yes.
Yeah, this is the same kind of science, or high-end audio systems that go above 20,000 hertz. I think it's all in their imagination. But
yeah.
Hey, if you like it better, you like it better.
Yes. Maybe someday we'll do some blind taste testing and see. Speaking of witchcraft, so there's a company called Rolling Square. And now they are the maker. They've done several Kickstarter Indiegogo projects, and I'm looking furiously around my desk here because I know I have one somewhere. They are the makers of the cables, and I've given you a couple of these over the different versions.
Yes.
Where it's on each end of the cable, they have like USB-A and USB-C on one end, and then the other end is USB-C Lightning, and then the Lightning also doubles as micro USB, which boggled our mind the first time we saw it.
Yeah, I used mine the other day, by the way, because
Yes.
I was in a pinch and needed a cable, and I'm like, I've got one on my keys.
Yes. Yeah, I use mine often, the one I keep on my keys, and the main cables I always carry in my bag, the longer ones, because they're so versatile. But I saw this week that they have announced AirCard, which is a Find My approved, basically wallet tracker. So they're going with the actual Apple certification. It's the thinnest card size tracker in the world, designed to fit in your wallet. But then it will, unlike Tile, it'll actually work with the Find My and your Apple AirTags.
Right.
And
That's
it also has
good.
a sound built in, because it says here, find it with sound. If your wallet is hiding nearby, make it sound to find it right away, which the AirTags, they don't have a
They
noise.
do.
Oh, do they?
They have a little chirp in there, yeah.
Oh,
They do.
I
You must
haven't
have
needed
never-
mine again.
Yeah, that's good that you haven't used it.
Yes.
And speaking of cables, to kind of backtrack a bit, just a reminder, I got my family each a USB to Lightning 6-foot anchor rated cable. Now, these are like
nice.
the $20 jobs. These
Yeah.
are not the cheapos. Every year I kind of get them those, because throughout the year, where are my cables? Where did
Yes.
they go? Oh, everyone's borrowed them and lost them or broke them or left them in a car somewhere. So I try to stay ahead of the game. So cables are always a good tech gift.
Yes.
For
Yes,
those that
they
you
are.
love.
Good little stocking stuffer. But those anchor ones, those are like a main gift. So back to the AirCard.
Yes, I don't want to forget about that.
Yes, it looks like pre-orders are opening in early January, and you can put in your email to get notified. So the Apple AirTags, it has a little comparison here, are 0.31 inches or 8 millimeters thick. The AirCard is 0.12 inches or 3.2 millimeters. So it's 2.2 credit cards thick versus 5.7 credit cards thick. So I'm excited about this, and hopefully they won't be charging too much for those, because it would be nice. It's a little hard to put an AirTag in a wallet. I have seen some people try to make do, but that adds some significant heft to a wallet that would go in your pocket.
Now, this is going to be an amazing thing for me, because I formerly used the thin little tile ones, and they're in a square configuration, so they don't fit in your wallet, and they don't fit a lot of places because they're too high.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go with the tile with all the sale to the new company and the tracking. And plus, it's outside of my ecosystem.
Yes.
It would be the only thing. So this excites me, because Apple is not making this product. And if this will do something like stick on the back of my Nintendo Switch, or the back of my ebook reader, or the back of an iPod, Kindle reader, or something like that, then Kindle Fire is what I was referring to, because I have to make that distinction, because a Kindle tablet, there are multiple kinds, and I have them all.
Yes.
Yeah. So and it also has replaceable batteries, unlike the tile. The tile, you use it for a year and you have to throw it in the trash. This one, you can replace the batteries. And so I don't know what this is going to cost. My guess is probably going to be like $50, probably $40. I think I'm going to get one or two of these to put on my devices, because the AirTag dangling off of stuff is not always the best use case.
No. So I will try to. I did put in my email to get notified, so I will bring that back up when we learn more on that, because I think it'll be a useful product for the people in the Apple and especially the Find My ecosystem.
I agree.
And speaking of ecosystems, it's time for Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
That has nothing to do with my pro tip of the week, but nice try on the segue, regardless. So this pro tip, a little shout out there to a friend of mine I like to call Ricky Bobby. Since he's quite famous, I don't want to go into details as who this person is or what he might be involved with. But Ricky Bobby out there, I was over to his house about a week ago, actually earlier this week, and we needed to do some work on his computer. For all of those of you out there who have an iMac that is in the, let's say 2017 or older vintage, maybe even some 2019s out there, if it's running sluggish and you see the rainbow spinning wheel of death going on a lot, your hard drive is probably dead. Especially the 21.5-inch inchers. They use a little small laptop hard drive,
Oh, yeah.
and they just are slow to begin with, and they get corrupted after about 4 or 5 years of use. And so we replaced it with an SSD. So that's
Mm.
just part of the work I did for him. And while we were waiting for the data to transfer from his drive to his new SSD that I put inside the computer, which is not an easy task, we went about his home looking for ways to improve his Wi-Fi network.
Hmm.
He has got Comcast coming, or it's not Comcast, but let's say Comcast coming into his house upstairs into a closet that has a Wi-Fi access point. He's also got multiple Google Nest Home Wi-Fi. What are those things
Oh,
called?
yes.
They look
Whatever
like
they're calling them now, the little
a
home domes.
cylinder. Yeah,
Yeah.
the little home cylinder things, and they appear to work great. And so the deal is you plug one in, and then through mesh technology, they wirelessly connect to one another, and then rebroadcast your Wi-Fi signal throughout the rest of the house. And he had, let me count here, 1, 2, 3 or 4 of them. I think 4 total, including the one upstairs. And it was working okay, but not great. So we started looking at his home, and it was wired for Ethernet. And I said, Ricky Bobby, why don't we try to hardwire a couple of these in so that they're not relying on mesh technology to send the signals back and forth? Because if there's one that's too far away, it's going to be weak, and then your experience in Wi-Fi on that side of the house is going to be bad. And then let's also look about where we could reposition these so that they make more sense. And so I just wanted to cover a couple of the things that we did to improve the signal. One, on these access points, these Wi-Fi access points, whether they're hardwired or mesh or whatever, get them up high.
Mm-hmm.
Putting them at waist level on a tabletop is okay for delivering Wi-Fi to your room, but receiving a signal from somewhere else, it could easily be blocked by people walking by, an appliance. So if you can put it up higher, you're going to avoid people, which are bags of mostly water,
Yes.
and other things that get in the way of blocking the signal. So we did that to a few of them. And like I said, we also found hardwired Ethernet to connect directly to them so that they would work more reliably. So Nate, in your experience, what are some of the things about hardwiring that can make improvements? I can think of a couple. I'm going to ask you a couple, and then I'm going to say a couple more.
Well, I did some hard wiring in my house, and I will tell you, making sure you get a good connection on the end of the cable so it doesn't every time it moves. But that's a personal problem. I think we talked about it. I've gone a very long time in my life not making many network cables, and I made some around my house. But making sure you have good connections and testing the cables and everything to get stuff hardwired. But yes, I agree. Hardwiring is good. So what are your other tips there?
Well, another thing, it was just today we experienced this.
Oh, yeah.
I said, hey, maybe we should hardwire your computer when we do this Zoom call so that we don't have Wi-Fi dropouts. I mean, if the sun decides to have an episode and blocks out Wi-Fi signals across the land, we won't have to worry about it. So if you're doing any type of video conferencing,
Yes.
having your computer hardwired into the network is the best way to go. And there have been professionals that I've listened to who think people are crazy trying to use Wi-Fi to do any kind of video, because the video standards that we use were not designed for live streaming video.
No.
They just it's an ad hoc solution. So anytime you can be hardwired, the better. The other things I would recommend is if you have like an Apple TV, and we did this for him as well, an Apple TV that's hooked to your home network, or a Roku device, or Google whatever. What are they do? What is there? Do they have? The Chromecast or the Amazon Kindle Fire Stick. Those I don't know. There's only the Cube.
Yeah, some of them
directly.
don't have Ethernet connections available.
I have an adapter that you can put in there, but regardless, if you can wire it directly, you're going to have a much better experience with the video buffering all the time. That hopefully will go away. Or if you're trying to connect your phone to the TV to connect to the whatever, anything that is hardwired is going to be better. Now, I understand your phone's not going to be hardwired, but your Apple TV would.
You could, I don't know if it works on the phone with your iPad, but yeah, I think that would be a good rule of thumb. If it's something that's stationary and you have the ability to just have it wired in, you're going to have a better experience. Because also, like our Apple TVs going a lot of the time, and that could be using a lot of Wi-Fi signal that otherwise other devices could be using. So yeah, anything that you can get wired in, like at my desk, because of my poor cabling abilities. I had unplugged the Ethernet because I was having some issues. Well, I got it resolved, and the cable was just sitting here in my little docking station. So all I had to do was plug it back in, and my speeds went about 4 times higher than what I was getting over Wi-Fi where I'm located in the house. So that makes a big difference. I have very fast internet, so I'm actually able to use it better. So thank you for that. You gave me a good tip today that was silly not to do. So
Yeah. So that's about it. Just a couple more things here. You may be thinking, well, I have the brand new Apple TV and the brand new iPhone, and I have a brand new 802.11 XYJ PDQ, the fastest thing ever. Why am I not experiencing fast speeds on this wonderful network? Well, I can tell you this. If you have older devices that are also Wi-Fi that are connecting to your network, they can slow down your network. And in fact, there are some devices you can connect to that all of your traffic will go to the speed of the lowest common denominator. So that is one other reason to move these stationary devices, like you mentioned, onto the wired network in case there is any type of wireless device that's causing traffic to slow down. And last but not least, I will say to the person asking, how do I just got this thing from Comcast. I don't know how to plug anything in the wire. Well, at the very minimum, I will tell you on the back of your Comcast router, this is where like the cable comes in through the wall and that big, thick, ugly coax from the 1940s that sticks in the back of your thing. On that device, it will either have a built-in Wi-Fi, which you may be using for your Wi-Fi, but there will be some Ethernet ports in the back. And if you take your computer that's maybe sitting right next to it and plug an Ethernet cable from your computer into the back of that box, you are on the wired part of the network. Now, it can get complicated, and these are just generalizations, but you can typically do it that way. And if you want hardwired in the rest of your home, that's a little more complicated. But newer homes these days have been wired for telephone. And instead of using the twisted pair RG, what is the RJ11?
RJ11.
Yeah, the twisted pair RJ11 for phones, it's got the RJ45 connector, which is Ethernet. It's using the same cable. So what I've done in my home, and I'm a little more tech savvy than others, is I've taken all the wired phone connections and connected them to a switch here in the garage, and I have my internet going there. So every phone jack across my house is now a wired Ethernet port.
That's I've done that. Some of that as well. And I will also say, depending on your housing situation, another problem with Wi-Fi is, like if I look at my Wi-Fi, there's 10 different Wi-Fi connections that show up with between neighbors and different networks and everything, and printers and this and that. So there can be a lot of interference, which goes away with being wired in. So
So wired is better.
Yes.
That's what I got to say.
Yes, I like it. Well, let us move on to our takes of the week. We are in between Christmas and New Year's, so not a lot of business. We are at the point of the year where there's some interesting reports coming out. And the first one was from Sensor Tower, which gets a lot of data from a lot of places that we probably wouldn't be happy about. But the headline is record-breaking 8 mobile games surpass $1 billion with a B dollars in global player spending during 2021. So 8 different games had more than $1 billion spent. Now, I don't know if you looked at this, Dave, or if you want to take some guesses.
Well, I have looked at it just now. I didn't look at it before, but I'm very confused by this list. There are some games that are absent that I would have thought otherwise would have been in there. So the first one, if I'm looking at the right place, is PUBG. This is Player Underground's
Underground Battleground.
No. Player Unknown's Battleground.
There you go.
Player Unknown was like the developer or whatever. So this is everywhere. I still hate that you can't use a controller on mobile with this game. That's why I don't play it on mobile. Yeah, it's a free game to play, and then you buy in-app purchases and all that good stuff. I would have thought Fortnite would have been up there. Fortnite basically
on
ripped
iPhone, right?
Well, maybe, I guess so, but it pretty much ripped off PUBG, so I would have thought it's the same style of game. And then Honor of Kings. Have you heard of Honor of Kings? What is this game?
It looks like one of those kind of fantasy role-playing game type things that I know there's been many of those, and I've played some similar, but I definitely have not played that one. But that's number 2 with 2.8, both that and PUBG, $2.8 billion in spending, which is just crazy.
Yeah, and I've heard of this other one, but I could not tell you what it's about. Genshin Impact. It's kind of an anime-styled game. I can't remember if it's a fighting game, if it's a, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's at $1.3 billion. That's,
1.8 for
oh,
Genshin.
I'm sorry. I went a little too far on my
Yes.
list. The next one, which you're familiar with,
Yes.
is 1.3. Tell us about that one.
Yes, Roblox, which actually in my daughter's stocking, there was a $10 gift card to Roblox yesterday that I bought for her because there was a, she wanted a rideable potion on Adopt Me to make one of her pets rideable so that she can ride it around. But yeah, Roblox, I mean, that's a huge...
I'm going to have to get back into this. I
yeah,
played it a
it
long
is
time ago, and I'm
crazy.
just like, I don't like the visual aesthetic.
Yes, yes.
It feels very
It's not a great
childish.
visual aesthetic, but there is a lot of, I mean, there are thousands and thousands of different games that people have created and very varying quality of those games.
Yeah.
But there's some real fun, just kind of, the simulation games where you get pets and you grow them and do this, that, and the other thing, or, mining type games where a grinder where you just got to go around and capture coins or whatever it is. But yeah, Roblox is a wild thing, and my daughter loves it. We've got some fun games we play together on there.
I was going to say, just as a sidestep, when my kids were younger, it was Webkins, where you buy a pet animal, like a doll,
yeah.
and then you could log in and put a code in, and you could play with it virtually. It could have its own room. You could make food for it and all that stuff. And so it was kind of a precursor to all of this. And I think Webkins is still around.
Yeah.
But kids today it's the same thing, just more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
With all this 3D immersive environments and
Well,
stuff.
yeah, and I've heard some talk on different podcasts and stuff over since we learned about the metaverse and kind of how Roblox plays into that, where there's a lot of kids that just have this. I mean, it's thousands of games within one application, and you can build your own stuff, and so it could really play into that. And I think maybe they were talking about going public or something like that, but Roblox is a thing. The next one, I don't know why this is a thing, Coinmaster, which looks like it's like a slot machine game that people spent $1.3 billion on.
I know some people who play a lot of virtual games. They don't really spend money on them, but
yeah,
constantly slot machines, card games. It's just a thing they like.
Yes, yes. And then we've got Pokemon Go, which 1.2 billion, which was tied with my favorite, Candy Crush Saga, still bringing in $1.2 billion this year.
The people who developed that have got to be just kicking themselves or pinching themselves rather, and saying, how did we, like, this has been going on for like 15 years now, this game. It's just, they've got to be rolling in the dough.
Yeah, it's, so Pokemon Go, this was their best year ever, which you wouldn't have guessed. But there's still a lot of people committed to it that are putting a lot of money into it. And then the last one on the top 8, or the 8 over $1 billion here, is another one I have not heard of, Garena Free Fire?
Nope, no idea. I might have to check these out. I mean, I don't want to have FOMO, the fear of missing out, if someone else is having fun with these games.
You can spend money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
my opportunity to cash out here.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is most of these games, it's in-app purchases. It's not, you don't necessarily have to pay to play, but people are willing to put money into them. And, if that's where you want to spend your entertainment budget, more power to you. But as always, be careful, because when you're living in a digital currency world, the money can go very quickly. So set yourself a budget and stick to it.
And also remember, you are licensing these items. They could be taken away or closed down at any time. You do not physically own any of it.
Yes, but yeah, there was a couple other that were close to $1 billion that hadn't crossed it yet when they did this study. But mobile gaming is a thing, is the summary of that article.
Yep.
And the next one was the top domains for internet
Okay.
traffic over the last year. Now, we kind of have these things in our mind that, and if we look back at the 2020 list, number 1 was Google, 2 was Facebook, 3 was Microsoft, 4 was Apple, which it does include some of their services, but I mean, I don't know how often I go to apple.com a lot. That's always how I test if the internet's working, because I know their
Yep, me
website will
too.
always be working. So I
Yeah.
might be part of the reason why it's so popular. Netflix, Amazon, 7 was TikTok, then YouTube, then Instagram, and 10th was Twitter in 2020. So in 2021, any guesses which service shot to the top? Which viral social service is now the number 1 domain in 2021, overtaking Google?
Is it? I'm actually really thinking about this. Is it Disney Plus? Is it like a streaming service?
TikTok.
Oh,
TikTok was the
TikTok.
number 1 domain of 2021.
Wow.
So it looks like it was February 17th, 2021 that TikTok got the top spot for a day. And then it was after August 10th, 2021 that TikTok took the lead on most days.
Wow. Now that I've scrolled down to the list, the only streaming service on there is Netflix and YouTube. I guess
Yes.
that's a streaming service.
But
But
this doesn't necessarily take into account apps as much as actual
yeah,
domain visits is what
like you
what
go,
they're trying to rank.
yeah, a lot of people don't use those services on the TV. They just use an
Yes.
app.
Yeah.
But yeah, TikTok makes total sense. And I have some coworkers that are totally into TikTok and are talking TikTok to me, and I'm just like glazed over. Well, I don't really need to.
No,
I
you
suppose
don't.
again this FOMO thing. So just a little reflection for all of you out there. Just total up the amount of time that you spend scrolling on these
Yes.
endless scroll things just to get some type of serotonin in your brain or whatever. I just add that up and think about how much time a week you spend looking at other people's crap that might interest you or make you
Yes.
smile. I'm guilty of it, but of course, humans are wonderful at justifying anything,
Yeah.
and I feel like I lean more towards the educational part of stuff where I'll
Mhm.
be like 90% of my YouTube channels are educational. I don't have TikTok. I do have Reddit, but I subscribe to the subreddits on topics that interest me. So a lot of times, it's 3D printing or Apple computers, or again, something that's more educational or
Yeah.
career building versus just like funny cat, funny cat, funny
Yes.
cat.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to judge people because I'm guilty of it as well. But now, as we're coming to the end of 2021, look back and reflect on the amount of time you've, quote, wasted looking through social media and see if
Yes.
maybe you can do better in 2022.
Yes. Yes. We always, or I am very guilty of always saying, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy." So it is good to reflect and say, "Okay, what am I busy with? Is it stuff that's benefiting? Am I not doing something because yeah, because I'll spend a lot of time on social media, and we all spend our time doing something. It's just, is it something that is for the greater good or benefiting you, or like you said, furthering your career or helping your family and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we do need some entertainment, but
Yeah.
we need balance in our lives. So, uh,
Well, and speaking of that balance, our next article's
yes,
title is Americans Widely Distrust Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram with Their Data, a poll finds.
yes,
Yeah, so why are we spending so much time on there if we don't trust them?
yeah, yeah. That is a very good point, and why I put it in there. So, Facebook leads the pack of uh, the trust not much slash at all category. 72% of people do not trust. And then the interesting thing, second is TikTok at 63%, where people don't trust much or at all. But then on TikTok, 25% of people had no opinion. So it's also kind of this, what do we really know about TikTok thing? I see a lot of fun videos, but I don't know what the Chinese government or whoever they say own the ByteDance.
Yeah, and I think that's the piece is that it's a controlled entity of the
Yeah,
Chinese government. So people are like, maybe I don't trust them. I like it. and I have
Yes.
fun with it, but I don't trust. I mean, and I think people go in knowing I'm using this, and I know that everything I do is being tracked. As long as you're aware of it and you're participating, that's kind of okay. It's the ones where they're doing all that without your consent that really
Yeah.
bothers me, and that's the number one, Facebook there on the list.
Yes. Yes. And the bottom two out of the kind of top 9 services here are Apple and Amazon, both at 40%. Not much trust. But I heard a discussion. Apple, of course, they very much promote their privacy and do a
Hmm.
very good job of communicating what they want you to think they're doing with privacy. But Amazon, a lot of people trust that. Obviously, most people shop on Amazon, and they get a lot of data from you because you're searching for stuff, you're buying stuff. They know all this stuff. And the discussion I heard was saying that a lot of people trust them more because it seems to stay internal. They're just going to
Yeah.
show you products that you're probably going to want to buy, but it's not. But Amazon, there haven't been many stories of Amazon breaking our trust, so that's why they are low on the list.
Yeah. And I would agree with that too. I agree with
Yes.
the bottom three. Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon are, it's about almost 50-50 about people trusting them or not trusting them.
Yes.
And then it gets worse there. But those are the three most trustworthy in my eyes, whether I'm drinking the Kool-Aid or not.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, we have a local security and privacy story. This was actually a couple weeks ago. A ransomware attack on McMenamins systems may compromise personal information of employees. So there is a
that's bad.
large chain of restaurants and hotels, McMenamins. They've got a bunch. They like to buy like old schools or churches and kind of convert them into these cool spots. Very, very Portland company. But yeah, they got hit with a ransomware attack, and it seems to be on an employee person information system. Not necessarily our typical, where it's every customer's credit card type of a thing.
And I almost think this is, well, it's not worse, but when it's a customer can be hurt and leave, and you can get a new customer. But if it starts affecting your employees and then they all walk out because they're mad at this type of breach that happened, it's like it can really negatively affect a company. It seems like the external ones with consumers that get leaked, it doesn't seem to make a difference. People are like, oh, well, there's another leak. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just change my credit card. But when it's something internal like this, and I think Sony had one a few years ago that was a big deal like that, where they got into some of their archived footage, their financial stuff, their employee database. It's just rough. Why do people do this?
Yeah.
Is the question.
Yes, well, for the money. It looks like it was the Conti ransomware, according to the FBI, and
That sounds familiar.
offering identity and credit protection service to all their
course.
workers, and they've retained an experienced cybersecurity investigation firm to get it all figured out. But I just that one caught my eye since it was security and privacy and something locally here that.
What are we, the Mark and Todd cast with local?
Yes, yeah, the local Portland stories. We're coming for you, Mark and Todd.
Yeah.
Watch out. And our last one is T-Mobile says it blocked 21 billion with a B scam calls this year.
Not enough, if you ask me. I got
No.
like 10 over the past 2 weeks, all trying to do something with DirecTV.
Oh,
Did you get those?
I get those. And it's weird. It seems like it's just like some random every third Wednesday I'll just get like 6 calls from different phone numbers in the morning, and the DirecTV or the car warranty and all this stuff, and it must work or they wouldn't keep doing it. But
well, we can do our part by reporting them to the FCC if you live in the U.S., which I've done a lot of, and I've been banking a bunch of them. I'm going to sit down one day and do like 8 numbers. Anyway, drives me crazy.
So they have their Scam Shield service, which I should look at that again. I think I tried to set it up before and everything. So again, this endless battle of the scam and robocalls and all this stuff, which and it does have some instructions here. T-Mobile customers can enable Scam Block to have robocalls and scam calls blocked automatically using one of these methods. Dial #662 from their T-Mobile device. Log into My T-Mobile or the T-Mobile app where they'll see an option Turn scam block on for their digits number by dialing 611. Yeah, or download the free Scam Shield app. But
And this is why nobody has this. So I do have the Scam Shield app installed on my phone, but I don't think I've gone through the setup process, or at least not on this newer phone. So anyway, I opened it. I'm going through the process. Got it. I haven't been able to do anything yet other than just saying, okay, now it's on. I just had to hit OK about 3 times.
Nice.
And it says scam block. Now I'm waiting. There's this little pulsing light, and it says scam block is on with a 0. I'm assuming that means it's blocked a 0 in the past 30 days.
Yes.
So I'm just let's just all sit here and wait. If you're patient at home, we'll see if one comes in. Okay, we stopped the recording after 4 hours. No call came in, and so we're back. Where were we, Nate?
Yes. We were going to move on to our bonus odd take, which via our oft-cited kotkey.org. It is a video of an AI basically breaking Tetris. So artificial. Wow, I've
artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I'm so deep into the simulation here that I forgot what AI stood for. But
in some circles, it's artificial insemination. If you're from the country and you're a farmer.
Yes. The new AI. An AI called StackRabbit can play Tetris better than any human player, but how much better? Well, it can play all the way to the end of the game, which, did you know Tetris ended? I didn't, but before that happens, it plays flawlessly through hundreds of levels, while the game itself is throwing up weirdo color schemes and scores from random places in its memory. The game's creators didn't imagine anyone or anything would get anywhere close to these levels, so it's pretty interesting. I've got some very fond memories of playing tons and tons of Tetris on my Game Boy and on the Nintendo and other devices. But you can watch this video. It's about 30 minutes long, just under 30 minutes. But you can see where it starts glitching out Tetris because this AI is so good. So
I don't remember them asking my wife to play against this thing because it said better than any human, but my wife's pretty good at this. So.
Yes. I was decent, but we actually had a whiteboard with high scores in our bachelor pad for a while, and
nice.
I tried, but nowhere near this AI. So if you want to pass 25 minutes and go watch Tetris glitch out, check out the link in the show notes.
Well, just remember you can fast forward on YouTube. So
yes, and just remember, you should never fast forward during our picks of the week.
We teased earlier about a device that I got myself basically for Christmas.
Yes.
I can't. This is the hard thing for a tech lover in your life, is that we're looking all year long at different technology and waiting for things to go on sale. And when do they go on sale? Right around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. And so we have to buy them because I've got a $20 bill in my pocket waiting for this product to go on sale, and it did, so I buy it. And it's like, well, what can I get you for Christmas? Well, I just bought this thing, but you wouldn't know how to get it. You wouldn't know where to go. You wouldn't know where the coupon code is.
It's just easier this way.
Just let me buy it, and we'll put it under the tree. I don't know about the rest of you out there, but during the holidays, I tend to eat a little bit more than I normally would.
Yes.
And I'm looking down at my stomach here, and I'm like, hello, friend.
Yes.
There's more of you now than there was before. In order to track our weight, we use an item called a scale typically. And I've had a Eufy scale for a couple years now, and it's fine. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but Eufy is the lifestyle brand from Anchor products, which we know and love.
Yes.
Anchor is a good, solid product, and Eufy's fine. You have to download the Eufy app, and it's got the sensors and the whole thing. And I use an iPhone, and so Apple Health is integrated and all that stuff. However, the company that you and I both talk about a lot, Wyze, has a Wyze scale.
Yes.
They're always kind of cheap, but they seem to be cheaper than normal, or at least maybe they were just advertising at regular price. But I'm like, why don't I own one of these? They're less than $20, maybe a little bit more with shipping. So I just ordered one, and I ordered one for you as well, my friend.
Yes, you did.
And that was your Christmas present. And so I've only had a few days to use this thing. So what is it? It's a square you put on the floor, you stand on it, you sync to your phone. And so it's on my phone. It will record your weight. It has the sensors for your for your muscle mass, BMI, all those metrics that I have
Yes.
no idea what to do with, go into it, and you can track it on your phone, and it syncs to Apple Health. So, did I really trade up from a Eufy to a Wyze? Probably not. But now I don't have to have another app on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was almost worth the price of admission not to have to deal with another phone or another app. And guess what? I haven't opened that Eufy app probably in a month,
Yeah.
maybe 2
Yeah.
months, because it's just I open the Wyze app all the time. It's probably open right now. Uh, I do have a long list of devices in my Wyze list now when I turn it
Yes.
on. But I know that you mentioned you haven't had a chance to use it. But tell me about your old scale that you had.
Yes. And mine was a previous pick of the week. It wasn't the Eufy, but it was a Ecstasicity one or something that I got on Amazon several years ago when I was I had a very old analog one, and when I was in my weight loss journey, I purchased that one, and it was okay, but you had to open the app and make sure it was connected, and the app wasn't real great, and so I was very excited to get this Wyze one. Now, I had told you the other day, I was like, man, I'm not opening that thing up for a while, because much like you, the holidays have I've been bulking up for winter, but I was just
Yes.
thinking as you were talking about that, now would be the perfect time to start tracking on the Wyze scale, because I am at my highest weight in a while. So
Yeah.
if I get back on track, it'll be downhill. So it'll be a nice downward slope in the app.
Yes.
But yeah, it will be nice to have it tied into Wyze, and they've got some nice features, and just to have a newer one that has, some of the newer technologies built into it, and it syncs with your Apple Health and Google Fit and Fitbit, and even
Yeah.
Samsung Health is coming soon. It has the auto recognition and sharing. Wyze Scale is meant for sharing. Set up your family in the Wyze app or share it with an unlimited number of friends. It can recognize up to 8 users and has a guest sharing mode. So heart rate tracking, it's got all kinds of features on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, $20 plus shipping. Man, I am grateful, and I am excited to try this out. So
Yeah. So that's my pick. What do you got lined up this week?
well, mine is a very niche app called Notchmeister. So
Maybe you should say a very notch.
Notch app, niche niche app called Notchmeister that's kind of been circling through the Apple Tech community. Well, I'm guessing very, very few of our listeners have a new MacBook Pro, one of the ones like mine that has the notch built in. They've changed the screen, and so much like the newer iPhones, you have a notch at the top. Well, some people were very worried that they wouldn't know when their mouse was stuck behind the notch.
Where did it go?
Yes, which I will tell you this, since I've had these new MacBook Pros for a couple months now, I use dark mode all the time on my Mac, so I very rarely even notice the notch. It just is not even an issue for me because it kind of hides behind the menu bar there. But Notchmeister is made by the Icon Factory, and for the holidays, so you download the app, it's free from the Mac App Store, and they have some different animations. So if I move my mouse behind the notch, right now I have some little Christmas lights that come down. And if you move your mouse around, the Christmas lights kind of sway, but they have a couple different options. They have the festive, they have nano radar, plasma leak, Cylon, and glow. So just some real cool little animations, so that it's just one of those little utility apps that only work with these Macs with the notch. That something will pop up, which I'll probably forget about it, and then I'll move my mouse up there and get real freaked out that my screen is glowing or something up there, but very cool.
2 things. The Icon Factory is a top-notch company.
Yes,
See what I did
they
there?
are.
They're a great company, so you can trust this software, and it's going to work very well. And 2, if you don't have one of the new fancy Macs, you can play along at home. I just installed this, and I was playing along with you. It puts a simulated notch on your regular computer if you don't have a computer with a notch. So you can go through and see all of these things. And one that I was a little confused about, the Cylon, if you go up there, a little red light keeps going along like it's searching you. And if you go up into the notch area, it forces your mouse pointer to the center of the screen. So if you get too close, it'll throw it to the middle
Yeah, and then the Cylon one for me, it actually does not allow my mouse pointer to go behind the notch.
Yeah, it throws the mouse. Mine, it throws it to the middle of the screen.
Mine, it just sticks to the edge of the notch. So
Oh, interesting.
it might be a
maybe
little glitchiness with the Cylon.
Since I don't have the real thing. But anyway, by your command and don't get too close, it says.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's fun to play along, even if you don't have a new Mac. You can
Nice.
still try this out. And there's no purpose of me having this, so I think I'm
No.
going to close it.
Yes, yeah. Yes,
but it's still
just,
fun nonetheless.
Very specific little utility that has brought a little joy to my life this
Very
last
cool.
week. And hopefully we brought in some joy to your life. This is the last episode of 2021. We will talk to you again in 2022. Thank you, everybody, for your support, for listening. And hopefully you have learned a lot from us so you can get out there and tech better. If I'm going to be out and about wearing a t-shirt, I want it to be my cool Santa shirt.
Cool Santa shirt? Cool?
Cool.
Oh, okay. Let's make sure I heard the right word there.
But it does have the auto recognition. Can I get